Okay, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Pep Talk.
The Peak Endurance Podcast, episode 24. I'm Nico.
And I'm Mercedes. And we are recording this episode on a sunny Sunday afternoon. It's been absolutely beautiful weather here on Vancouver Island. Today, we thought we'd hop on. We're going to be heading away on a trip for the next 10 days. So we thought we should hop on, record a quick pod before heading out. So we just kind of got a random collection of topics to talk about, obviously running related. Let's just kind of dive in. Maybe we'll just kick things off with talking about the weekend. How was your weekend?
Weekend was great. Like you said, the weather is beautiful, like nice and sunny, but it's cold for our standards, frosty mornings around, freezing or just below freezing. And kind of just like one big training weekend before we kind of take off. We're going to Trinidad for 10 days, and I'm not really sure what the running will look like, but running won't be the priority down there. So kind of haven't had a big training weekend before we leave. So for me, this weekend also marked 8 weeks to the Big Alta 100K. So so both days. So yesterday I had did like an hour and 15-minute bike, and then just under 3-hour run. And then today I did an hour and 15 bike and around a 2-hour run in the trails. Felt really good on both of the runs, kind of pushing the uphills a little bit at the edge of my aerobic zone, and just kind of playing in the trails, and felt really good, and just flowing around and taking in a lot of nutrition, eating a lot, and it was good.
Great. You kind of skipped over the fact that we, on Friday night, hosted both of our families over for dinner for the first time.
Oh, I thought the question was, what did training look like for you?
Oh, okay.
What was your weekend? We hosted, I guess, our first dinner party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was to have your family, my family over all together. So that looked like, well, for the people that could make it. So it ended up being 12 adults, 2 children, and a baby. But Hunter doesn't really count because he doesn't eat any food. But that was definitely a big group to prepare and cook for. So naturally, I stressed about it for like an entire week ahead of time. Everybody offered to bring things, and like our moms and stuff were super gracious and wanted to help me, but I very much wanted us to just make everything as kind of a thank you for all the help that we've received in getting into this house. So I really wanted us to own all of the duties. You somehow managed to still get your mom to make one thing.
The secret Mexican rice recipe that she kind of showed me how to make it. She brought the rice over and made it here. So I was kind of like learning how to make it, but it was add a little bit of this, add a little bit of that. There's not a measured amount of anything. So I think I've got, a working recipe to go from. But I think, it's like kind of one of those things you try out a couple times and maybe you figure out, it's missing a little bit of salt or a little bit of tomato sauce, and you don't have the right amount. So, but then as you do it, you learn.
And in fairness, you did ask her for the recipe, but she just told you that she cannot give you a recipe because there is not one.
Yeah. It's in her head.
It's in her head.
Yeah.
So anyways, but overall, everybody seemed to enjoy the meal. Maybe they were just being nice, but overall, I would say it was a success.
Yeah, success, and there was probably double the amount of food that we needed.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. That runs in my blood.
Yeah, your mom's side of the family, the hop side.
Yes.
It's, the hop gene.
Just ultimate paralyzing fear about not having enough food, so you just have way too much every time instead.
Totally. And then we still have leftovers. That was the food for yesterday and today.
Yes, we've been eating that. We've been eating basically the same thing since Friday, and all of our leftovers. Also because we're intentionally trying to get through the food in our fridge before we go away on holiday. And I mean, we love leftovers. It's not a bad thing, but I've now had some version of our tacos on Friday night in like 4 separate meals since then.
Yeah.
So ready to move on from that. But yeah, so that was Friday night. And then, big training weekend, I guess.
Yeah. How was your training weekend? You had a workout on Saturday? Redemption workout?
Redemption workout. Yes. So last weekend, I had this same workout. You had scheduled it for me on the Saturday, and then I was supposed to do a long kind of aerobic easy run on Sunday. But last weekend I had been invited by a couple of my girlfriends to go and run with them on Saturday, and I really wanted to do that, so I swapped the days. And so I kind of knew that would probably like jeopardize the quality of the workout on Sunday. And I just remember last Sunday when I woke up to do the workout, it was just one of those times when you like just know it's not going to be great. I don't know. My legs were a bit sore and tired, and I just had a feeling that it wasn't going to go super well, which is maybe a bad mindset to go into a workout with. But I also thought, you never know. Sometimes you think it's not going to go well, and then you try, and it goes better than you expect. So I thought, I'm just going to try, give it a go. And it was quite bad. I was not able to hit the paces, and I was just getting really frustrated, and it just felt really hard. And I kind of did what I could, but I sort of cut it short, and it just was, a bit of a fail.
So this weekend, you had another opportunity to do it.
So this weekend, I did it as scheduled, as programmed.
Yeah.
So I did the workout on Saturday and then did my long run today. And I will say, something that I think, long story short, it was a success. I had a way better workout this weekend. I was able to hit the paces. I was able to do the full workout in its entirety, and I felt really good. So, win. And I was just reflecting on, I think it's so interesting what a difference a week can make, and I think that's very cool with the body, and just to kind of think about, what was different. Obviously, the swapping of the run days probably played really big role. But the other thing that I think I did differently that can help, especially when it comes to treadmill workouts. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do this outside anyways, but I think last weekend I attempted to watch reality TV while doing the workout. And I don't know, I've been able to do that before, but I think definitely didn't aid. This time I just put on Pump Up Jams, Big Booty Mix, if you know, you know. And I just was jamming out the whole time, and it got me fired up, and it was just way better vibes. Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know why you would watch TV while you're trying to do a workout. Like, are you watching TV or are you doing the workout? Like, I don't know. I feel like your mind's not in the right headspace to do it. So
I just really desperately wanted to see the ending of this reality show, and
it couldn't wait.
And I just wanted to do it. I wanted to, get 2 birds stoned at once. So I did that. But it was a mistake, and I didn't do that this week. So I do think that was a contributing factor as well.
Multiple contributing factors.
Mm-hmm. So did that. And then, the nice thing about the workouts is they're not crazy long so far anyways. So that whole thing took me less than an hour and a half, which was nice. So then I had the whole day, got out in the garden. It was cold, like you said, but it's been so beautifully sunny. So that was really nice. And then today I did my long run, and I did about just over 26K, I think. And again, it was even colder, I think, today. It was really cold in the morning. So I left the house at about 7:30, and everything was just so frosty, but it was so pretty. And my only intention for the route was to just try to catch the sunrise where I could. So I just kind of was like chasing the sun. And that was a success. I was able to get lots of pretty glimpses of the sun coming up. And I would say at this point, sort of by maybe like 23K, that's when I start to feel like, okay, my legs are feeling a bit more tired now.
Yeah, the run is starting to feel long now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, overall, all good. And like you said, we won't likely be able to do Well, we don't really know what running in Trinidad is going to look like, but if I had to guess, it'd be not good.
Yeah. Maybe like just by proxy heat training, because the temperature will be like 30 degrees.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, and like as you were talking about like how things can change in a week, like it kind of just reminded me of last time I was on the podcast, like I had that little Achilles niggle, and
Oh, right, yeah.
and so yeah, I guess a little update on that. Like it took me just about a week to get over. So I think after we recorded the podcast, the next day I ran a little bit, then I kept running a little bit more, and then I don't know, in like a week's time, I was back to almost running normally. So
Well, that's not all you did. You got treatment.
yeah,
some
I
varieties.
had like a week off,
Yeah.
or like a week of minimal running. I got like 2 treatments, like physio in that time, and then from there, kind of just kept building, and things improved. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I've talked about this before, but I feel like your meter to tell you in your body when something is off is extremely sensitive.
so sensitive. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think I was talking to some friends because they listened to that podcast when I ran with, I think it was with Andy and Lindsay, and they were asking me about your niggle and how that was going. And yeah, it was pretty much better in a week. And so I think oftentimes people would refer to their own niggles as something that's like quite serious, because they wouldn't sort of deal with it until it got to that point.
yeah.
Versus you always address something when it's really early on, which is good, obviously.
Totally, yeah.
And obviously you've learned to do that over failing probably to do that in the past.
Totally. Listening to it, yeah.
Right.
Or not listening to it in the past.
Yeah, and then it always just ends up worse. But it's always, I don't know, it's a good reminder to me to see that things can be dealt with very quickly if you just address them when they're just giving you the earliest warning signs. Like you probably could have said, I don't know at the time what your out of 10 pain scale would have been, but it probably would have been very low is my guess.
Yeah, yeah. Like I could have still ran, but there would have been like pain, and it just didn't seem right. It didn't feel right to me. So I guess that was my kind of indicator. And like even today, I was like, I'll run between like 2 to 3 hours, and then I was going down like a hill, and I was like, I don't know, my hamstring feels like extra tight right now, and I was just like, I feel like that was just my body being like, just stick on the low end of like time, and then just cut it like a little bit short. So I just like cut it a little bit short because I was just like had a really good weekend and no need to like push my luck and take it easier. So
Yes. Somehow I feel like this still has not totally worked its way into my ethos. I still struggle with that so much of if there's something programmed, if there's 3 hours programmed, then I just feel like I have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I had put 3 hours in my thing, and I was like going down that nice flowy descent, and then I was just gonna feel it feels tight and not like super great, and I was like I was planning on going back up, doing another loop, and then coming back down again, but then I was like already kind of like pointing home, and I was like, well, might as well, like doesn't hurt. So
Yeah. Anyways,
live to continue. So yeah.
Things I have to work on for sure.
It's always a work in progress, and sometimes, I don't know. There's that quote that I just love. It's like, listen to your body when it whispers, because if not, like you'll hear it when it screams. So
that is a good one.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you listen to? Did you listen to anything on any of this exercise that you did? Let's say cumulatively 6-7 hours of exercise this weekend.
I guess yes. I think it was like 7.5 or 7. On the bike, well, because I was on the indoor bike trainer, I listened to music or I watched like a little bit of YouTube, a mix of both while I was biking. On the run yesterday for 3 hours, Jordan joined me for about the first hour and a bit, and then I was solo, but no music whatsoever. And then today I popped in music for the last 30-40 minutes. That was about it. At first it's just nice. Like I don't really like starting with music. I'm just kind of like taking everything in. It feels like quiet and peaceful. And then like I'll pop it in maybe halfway through my run. Like popped in at like around an hour and a half because I was like, or an hour and 20. I was like, I'm about halfway through the run. And then I was like, maybe just have music for the last half. And yeah, so that was about me. Like I did Big Moody Bix as well today, or sometimes I'll listen to Tiesto's podcast. But yeah,
This remind me to tell you or to send you later. our friend Dave sent me some banger playlists in his words.
Okay.
He sent them to me and said in all capital letters, do not listen to these on slow runs. They will blast you off to the stratosphere. So anyways, and they're all on Spotify, and I don't have Spotify. So anyways, I thought you'd enjoy them.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I kind of knew that you were going to say that you didn't really listen to much because you never do, but I just think that's so funny because you don't like having anything in. You said in the beginning, I have something in my ears before you've even left the house.
Okay, well, I like listening to something but while I'm getting ready and to get going, so it's like kind of pump up, but then I just take it out, and then I didn't even bring sometimes I won't even bring my phone or music, but
I also have noticed, many times you just leaving your phone, and I just think that's not safe.
How so?
Well, what if you are on the other side of the hill and you had an accident, like you sprained your ankle really bad or something, and you needed to call for a pickup?
Yeah, it would be bad.
That would really suck. Then you'd have to wait until you encountered somebody, ask them to try to get you home. That would be terrible. You'd get really cold.
Yeah. No, I guess you're right. Like,
or
safety.
If a cougar attacked you.
I'm not afraid of cougars.
I know. I am. Anyways.
Yeah. What about you? What was you were listening to Big Booty Mix, obviously on the workout.
And then today I went straight podcast. So for the 2.5+ hours I was running, I listened to 3 different podcasts.
I don't think I've ever listened to a podcast while I run.
It's like all I do now.
Only music.
On all of my chill runs, I always listen to podcasts.
I feel like, I just can't. Well, not that I can't. I just wouldn't enjoy it as much. Yeah.
So I'll tell you the order of operations because I do think they were all good, and these would only be of interest to people that also enjoy running because all 3 of them happen to be running podcasts. I don't only listen to running podcasts, but I had a lot to catch up on 3 of my favorite running podcasts. So the first one was Boulder Boys.
Yeah.
They seem to be posting a lot more episodes.
I think they've got like a weekly cadence where they seem to, I don't know, Thursday or Wednesday, whatever, meet up for a podcast, and they seem to release a podcast every Friday now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I quite like the Boulder Boys. I think they're funny, and they always seem to riff on kind of funny topics, and they have interesting takes.
Yeah, I agree.
So that one was good. I thought, they were kind of diving into Ben Demon had made some comments about how basically he felt like North American trail races are soft. And I think he referred to Western states as cute in comparison to UTMB. And these boys took great offense to that because they put North American trail races and Western states specifically in very high regard. It was just kind of interesting to hear those takes.
I thought it was funny. Most of them are like American except for what's his name? That's Moy, who's from South America somewhere, and kind of more European.
I believe he's from Chile.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but
he goes back there often, though, for sure. Yeah. But he's like more on the European side defending Ben Demon, and everyone else was like, no, Ben Demon wouldn't do well. And
they said he would get smoked if he came and tried to do Western States. Yeah. And for the listeners, if you don't know who Ben Demon is, he just came second place at UTMB this past year. So he's a very impressive athlete. And then the next podcast I listened to was Run Single Track. And they did a long run archives, and I always like those as well. And they had Jeff Colt on there, who's a athlete sponsored by On, and they brought up this same thing of the Boulder Boys talking about Ben Demon, and it was interesting because then Jeff Colt had the take that basically Ben Demon would smoke any of these guys at any race.
Yeah, I think Ben Demon is just a really good athlete. I think he would do well. Whatever race he enters. So
yeah, so it's just kind of interesting. I feel like the Boulder Boys have a definite North American bias, so. Yeah. But Ben Demon probably has a European bias because he lives over there, and that's the kind of races that he likes to do.
For sure. And yeah, Ben Demon's actually American, right? But he lives in Europe, but and races mostly only in Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think what the Boulder Boys were kind of refuting was the fact that he was talking about all these races that he hasn't actually done. So it's like, how can you have a strong opinion about a race, whether it's easy or hard or whatever, if you've never actually done it?
Yeah.
Because, and I do agree with that, because oftentimes on paper or a race you'll be evaluating or looking at, I think Black Canyon is a great example, and they talked about this, and I know we've had this experience because we've both run that course, and we've just been there now a few times with other people. And I feel like everybody who I know who does that race, because it's supposed to be, it's desert, it doesn't have a lot of elevation. And so I think people are kind of fooled into thinking that it's going to be like a non-technical, smooth running. And it's actually a lot more technical than you think, because there's so many rocks.
Yeah.
And
it like winds and zigs and zags. It's like you're kind of like your hips are moving like side, like it's like you're kind of doing these tight turns, and even though it's like going downhill, it's like you can't. It's not straight line speed.
Yes. Yeah. And you kind of, I don't know. I just think that I remember when Greg and Katie did it for the first time, and they were both like, that was way harder than we thought. And I think that, so anyways, my point being that you can't just look at a race without actually having done it, and I think have a strong opinion about the difficulty of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the Boulder Boys were talking about, I think I had texted this to you and Greg earlier that day on Friday. I was like, I think Jim might be doing Black Canyon. And they're like, I think the rumor mill out there is that Jim Walmsley might be doing Black Canyon. Yeah,
so did you think that because you heard it on that show?
No, I just came to my own conclusions.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Then I heard the show later that day or the next day kind of thing.
Wow, okay, so...
Well, and I mean, like, my speculation was because he's like, he's spending a lot of time in Flagstaff right now, which is not far from the actual, like, where the race takes place, just north of Phoenix for Black Canyon. Mm-hmm. He's like, it's interesting because people are getting the most glimpse into what Jim does through Francesco Pupi's Instagram right now.
Right.
Because Francesco Pupi, winner of CCC at UTMB this past year, is doing Black Canyon, and he came out to train, and they had the Hoka Athlete Summit a couple weeks ago, and then he's just stayed out here and trained, and he's training in Flagstaff with Jim, which Jim splits his time between Flagstaff and France.
And he's from there originally.
And he's originally from Flagstaff. But then you just see Francesco posting lots of stories of him and Jim training together,
going out for pizza together,
exactly, going in the sauna, like, so it's like, why is Jim still over here? Like, why is he still here? Like, when he could be going back to France?
Why wouldn't he announce it though?
I don't know.
Like, he likes to stay dark.
Keep things under the radar, and I think like he needs to get back into Western states. He needs to get a golden ticket, like so it kind of just lines up well for him to do Black Canyon. So pure rumor mill. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Black Canyon's actually only in like 13 days, so it's coming up.
Should know soon.
Yeah.
And we won't be there obviously this year, which is disappointing for many reasons.
Yeah, we were there like several years in a row.
I know. I feel like
3 years in a row.
Yeah. It started to just feel like routine. Mm-hmm. And so if Jim was racing, just adds to the disappointment of us not being there.
Totally.
And since I ran, that was my first 100K. And I've definitely wanted to go back. I've wanted to run it again. I've gone back, but not running it.
Yeah. So you've come a long way since.
Yeah. So I would like to see what I could do. Maybe next year.
Oh, okay.
Maybe next year.
Way too early racing plans.
Yeah. I already have.
So you don't miss this registration.
I feel like I skipped on... was delayed in registering for all the 2026 races, and now my mind is just focused on all the races I want to do in 2027.
Well, it's good to start thinking about it super early, so then when the registration does open, you can be on it.
Yes, and I think that I did this little thing on Instagram where I did a little reel that looked back on the year, and so part of why I like doing that is because then I just sit down and I go through all of my photos from the year and look at all like my kind of favorite moments. And obviously a big part of a highlight of the year for us, for me, last year was just the month of August, that when the time that we spent in France. And it felt sort of like the first time that I felt really strongly in reflecting on the photos of like, oh, I definitely want to go back and I definitely want to do that race again.
UTMB or Black Canyon?
UTMB, sorry,
Okay,
I kind of switched gears here.
Yeah, we jumped around there. Yeah,
I know. So then I was like, okay, maybe I could do Black Canyon in February. Do you get back into UTMB? Well, I guess I would have to get myself a qualifying race to get into UTMB. But
yeah, it'd be a little bit more complicated. Well, you could apply for the lottery with stones.
I could,
Yeah.
yes. But anyway, so just, I don't know, all of a sudden I've just felt way more invigorated of the races that I want to get back into.
Okay, this is news. This is new, because you were kind of not super motivated or not super intrigued to where you wanted to go next besides the marathon.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
So
cool.
yeah, so we'll build on that as the years to come. Something that I thought was kind of also funny in the single track podcast that I was listening to was, I guess Finn Melanson watches Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which is the reality show that I was watching when I tried to do my speed workout and failed. And I just thought it was so funny that Finn Melanson was talking about this reality TV show. I mean, it's based in Salt Lake City, but other than that, that would be the only thing tying Finn to it.
Yeah.
On his running podcast, and it was just quite hilarious to me. And then I was just thinking about how, people like you probably just have no idea what that even is.
I mean, I just know of the show because I know you watch it.
Yes.
I have no clue of anything, content of what's going on in the show or anything. And Finn was talking about it, and he said that they were like, where he goes running is by like one of the houses that they like, one of the main characters.
Yes, he was like, I see Lisa Barlow out, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I would die if I saw Lisa Barlow out and about.
Yeah. No, apparently what he runs into a lot of them, like, frequently, right?
Yes. So anyways, I just thought that was really hilarious. Worlds colliding,
Yeah. Unlikely worlds.
Unlikely worlds.
Yeah.
And then the third podcast I listened to,
Yeah.
to cap this off.
So Boulder Boys single track.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last one, which was probably the one I was most excited to listen to, so I saved it for the end,
Okay.
was Free Trail, hosted by Dylan Bowman, had Beth McKenzie on. Have you listened to this episode
I did,
yet?
yeah.
Okay.
It's a good podcast.
It's a great podcast. I became a fan of Beth McKenzie, probably like in the last year or so. She kind of broke onto the trail scene, and she just has a very interesting story. I think a lot of things about her are interesting and impressive. And she is an American who lives in Australia. She's got 2 kids. She's 45, so she's not, super young to be sort of breaking into any sport. She's a former professional triathlete. She runs a business, all these things. So I think she's like a very impressive person. And I started following her on social media. And I think you probably knew about her just from triathlon, right?
Yeah. I had like heard of her from triathlon, but I didn't actually know too much. I didn't actually really realize like the whole doping incident from before too.
Did you know of her? Because I didn't realize, because I'm just a girls fan.
Yeah.
And I always have seen her husband in her social media and stuff, and she runs her business with her husband, Luke McKenzie, but I never knew anything about him. And I guess he was actually a very accomplished professional triathlete. So were you more familiar with him?
Like, I knew his name, but I didn't know he placed second at Kona. Because, like, when I got into triathlon in, like, 2017.
Yeah,
and I
so
think,
it was a bit after that.
I think, it was, like, just before or kind of,
I think she said he got second in Kona at, like, 2013 or
Okay,
something
yeah,
like
so that would have been before I was even doing triathlon, yeah.
Okay, but you were familiar with him?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, so anyways, for people, I would say definitely go and listen to the podcast because it's it's just a good interview. And yeah, like I said, I think Beth's really interesting, inspiring. But to kind of briefly summarize, in 2016, she had a drug test come back with, I can't remember the name of the steroid, but she tested positive for some banned substance. And essentially, it is a steroid that's used to, I guess, yes, make you stronger, but it typically would be most beneficial to use over several weeks, right? Like 8 weeks or something like that.
Something that takes like 3 or 4 weeks I don't know. Yeah.
And so the timing of her situation, she had a clean drug test, I don't know, a week before this at some other race. Then she had this not clean drug test, which was a week before what was supposed to be her A race of the year. And so her kind of rationale was like, well, why would I take this drug right before my A race that takes about 8 weeks to even do anything for you? So that was kind of one of her points. But the other thing, it basically was later found to be that the salt pills that she was taking were not certified to be safe for sport, and
We're contaminated.
And I guess there was several other triathletes who also tested positive for this substance, who it just found to be tested or resulted from the
salt pill.
The salt pill.
Yeah, and that one of the distributors or manufacturers of the salt pills, whatever, had something like going on with like steroids or something like that. Was found to
they were illegally manufacturing steroids
in that same
the
facility. So it's like you can draw kind of your own conclusions of like, oh, maybe like that's how the salt pills got contaminated. But like she still ended up serving a 2-year ban because they couldn't like prove fully that she wasn't, right? Like,
yes. Yeah. And I guess so her word of the wise was, if you are competing at a high level and you want to ensure that this kind of thing wouldn't happen to you, you should be keeping, like if you buy salt pills, for example, you buy 2 so that you can, use the one and you keep the other one, so that if for some reason it came up some substance that had been banned, you could submit the second product that you bought for them to test, because it would have been from the same batch, from the same facility, blah, blah, blah. And that can prove your innocence essentially in these situations. But because she hadn't done that, and she put her stuff in Ziploc bags and mixed all these things together, it was like basically impossible for her to trace and figure out exactly like the batch and all of that she had taken this from. So yeah, anyways, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't do that. Like,
I was going to ask you about, does it make you think about even say like protein powder and stuff? Like, do you look at seeing if they're certified safe for sport or have the certifications that make that?
Not necessarily, to be honest.
Yeah.
And definitely we don't keep an extra protein bag just in our, just in case like it needs to be tested. No. It's just like very costly to keep doubles of everything that you're buying. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's hard. You just kind of want to trust the companies, but it's like at the same time, I guess you also have to look after yourself too. So,
but to her point, this company that produced these salt pills that had all these issues, they were sponsor at Ironman. They were very widely used, very highly regarded at the time. Now they're like out of business. Yeah. I think it was Carbo Pro or Carb Pro or something. And so I think, I don't know, the kind of lesson that I took from it, and what she said too, was, she used to sort of trust the system, trust the companies. You just assume that if everybody else is taking this kind of gel or this kind of powder or whatever, that it must be fine. And she just now, she's been so burned, and it completely changed her life and was such an impact. So she just is obviously so diligent about it now. But I just think that would be so horrific for that to happen, and that you did not intentionally take anything.
Yeah, imagine you have your breakthrough race, you get drug tested, then you're like, you fail it, and you have no clue why.
Right. Yeah. And it's just because you you took something that you never intended to get any sort of performance benefit from. And you probably didn't get performance benefit from, because it probably wasn't even enough of a substance, or you taking it long enough to actually give you any benefit. Yeah.
Well, and like hearing her talk and stuff like that, and the Boulder boys as well talk about this, is like, I'm scared to take things at aid stations now. Yeah. Because if you take something at an aid station that's contaminated, good luck tracing that back. And they're also talking about how NAC isn't safe for sport or whatever, and that's what they have at all the UTMB races. Yeah,
which is concerning.
Which is concerning that the product on course is not safe for sport at the UTMB races. So it's anyway, so it just kind of makes me be okay, I just have to have all my own stuff. So then you have control of, and where where things came from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely makes you think twice about it. But yeah, we kind of hear these stories every so often of people who go through these horrific experiences of, yeah, being found guilty of doping, even though they completely claim they're innocent. So it's just kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought she did a really good job at telling her story. And I mean, it was 10 years ago, so she seems very much, moved on from it. But, it still impacts her today because now she got into trail running and she has now twice received golden tickets due to her placing at races that she couldn't accept because Western States doesn't allow people with any sort of doping ban to join their races, even if they've served their ban and all is good and they're not doping now.
Any offenders aren't allowed ever.
So it just goes to show, this is 10 years ago that this happened, and she
Yeah.
served her time and was basically found to be innocent by most ways possible.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah, bummer.
but anyways, she's a fun athlete to follow, and
Good podcast to
great
listen
podcast. Okay, the other thing I wanted to quickly chat about was, so we just recently started watching Heated Rivalry. What's your take on it? I feel like I haven't actually asked you about this.
No, you haven't. Well, I mean, I think it's like, I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and like in a, like a hockey kind of environment where it's very masculine, to, just kind of break barriers of what would be kind of the typical stereotype. I don't know. I think it does a really good job of, kind of portraying that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I get why there's so much hype around it and why it's really blown up.
Are you enjoying it though? Because I feel like a couple times I've noticed that you're just sort of working on your computer when I have the show on.
No, I am enjoying it. I also have a lot of stuff to do at the same time. So I feel like I can't,
And the sex scenes are a bit long.
They're definitely long and very
Graphic.
graphic. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the word. Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely time to be staring down at your computer. You're not like missing the plot or anything.
No, yeah, I can see the plot. Well, also doesn't help. We started on episode 5 by accident.
Oh, yeah.
And we were streaming it off of a website,
Yeah.
and I was just like, seems like a lot has already happened, and then we finished
And
the
it
episode.
didn't have the English subtitles, so they were speaking in Russian. And we were watching it for a bit and thinking, or just saying out loud, are we not supposed to be able to understand what they're saying? Is there, because sometimes
Yeah.
that might be, I don't know, maybe that
Yeah,
wasn't.
no, sometimes there's short little they're talking.
You don't need to hear what they're saying,
Yeah.
but then they really went on, and I was like, this can't be right.
Yeah. But anyways, because then we were I had seen episode 5, and then we're watching episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Oh, I was I kind of know where this is leading to. I mean, there's a lot of obviously build up into how they get together and how their relationship, evolves during the time. But no, I think it's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely casting a light on, well, obviously the topic of, like you said, the sort of masculine, maybe even sometimes homophobic environment that those kind of male-dominated, male energy team sports create, but also just on hockey in general, because I think that there's probably a lot of people paying attention to hockey that might otherwise not have been due to the show.
I heard hockey's a lot more popular now because of the show.
Yeah. So I just think that's kind of interesting.
It is, yeah.
Twofold. And I saw somewhere online and some social media post about, there was already, I don't know his name, but I think he's a NHL player coming out after this show happened.
Cool.
Publicly. So anyways, hopefully it's having that sort of positive impact.
Yeah. Just making people more comfortable if if they want to come out. And I think also it's just interesting in terms of just the Russian athlete, and how some countries have are more homophobic and adverse to it's scarier for people to come out, and in some countries where I feel like in Canada we're pretty, for the most part at least, pretty accepting and welcoming to anyone.
Yeah.
But
you also haven't been a gay person on a mostly straight hockey team.
No, for sure.
So
for sure.
you might
yeah, I
feel
have no
different lens.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. Anyway.
But it's just like, eye-opening. It's
Yeah.
good. Like good to be challenged in different,
Yeah.
viewpoints and narratives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I heard it was like almost not even picked up, the show. I think it got picked up by HBO at kind of near the end. So it was actually filmed pretty budget in Canada because they didn't really have a ton of money to put towards it. So anyways, it's just kind of cool the popularity it's having despite it didn't have a lot of backing to begin with.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's like, in a hockey sense, we have the Olympics in like 2 weeks coming up. So kind of cool to, I don't know, we'll probably put more spotlight on the Olympic hockey.
That's true.
What's going on there.
Cool. Okay. I thought we could chat a little bit about what makes you pick races. And I think I was listening to probably another podcast. I don't know where I was hearing this, but just talking about sort of the desire to pick races based on how competitive it is, or how maybe grassroots it is, or maybe some people like the bigger production value races that, a ton of money is poured into them. Some people probably really don't like that side of things, and they want trail running to stay more homegrown, grassroots kind of vibe. So that's my question for you is, when you're thinking about what races you want to do and picking your race schedule, I mean, okay, obviously this year you were really focused on doing UTMB again, but I mean, you could even relate it back to that. So yeah, what impacts your decision?
Yeah, for me, I usually like to choose one race that will anchor the season. Kind of like you were saying, for me, this year's UTMB, similar as last year, and then I use that as a framework to build up the rest of the season around it or leading up to it. And for me, I picked UTMB because it hits kind of checks multiple boxes in terms of it's really competitive. Where it is located, I'm drawn to the race course. I look forward to the mountainous race course. So it has a lot of aspects that I enjoy. It being really big, I guess that comes part with being really competitive, right? So kind of comes hand in hand. And then kind of building up to that, choosing races that will help prepare me for UTMB. And that's kind of how I landed at Big Alta and Alpenglow. But I guess Big Alta, I chose that race because it looks like a really cool course. So kind of being drawn to the race course itself, the point to point from Golden Gate Bridge to Marin County. Also, I'm drawn to the fact that it's with free trail, so there'll be good media coverage. As someone who would enjoy being sponsored, I feel going to races that have more media attention, like the free trail events or
more exposure.
More exposure. Yeah, that draws to me as well, and I like it's. Also draws other good athletes there too, so good opportunity to test myself. And then Alpenglow is more prep for UTMB. It's it's definitely not as competitive as Big Alta will be, but it's a good preparation race for UTMB, and that one's kind of more grassroots. And I really like Gary and supporting his races, so kind of almost cover a lot of the bases with my season.
You do,
yeah. So, but I think. Amongst all the races, I'm drawn to. I like racing those courses. Excites me. None of the courses where I'm I don't feel like I'm excited to race that race course. Where it's if it feels I don't know, a really flat race, I would be I'm not super stoked to do this race.
Yeah.
So for me, Black Canyon would be a little bit hard. I'd be drawn to the competitiveness of the field, but maybe the race course itself wouldn't be as appealing to me.
And that's maybe more so too because the kind of training that you would have to do here to prepare for that would not be your favorite kind of training.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although, maybe if we were spending a couple months in Arizona leading up to that, you actually might like that more, don't you think?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it's just, if you're training for Black Canyon here, that means you have to just basically do quite a bit of road or just flat trails,
Yeah. Which is kind of hard to do.
which is hard to do. And it just, you kind of end up having to do the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
It gets a bit monotonous.
Yeah, and like when you pick races and goals where the training you need to do for it you enjoy, it just makes the process so much easier. Like if you're enjoying the training that you're doing for that race, then it makes it so much easier to do that training. So having those two kind of align makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah, it makes the training easier, but also I think a big component is there's no guarantees on how your race is going to go, right? You might drop out, you might get injured, you might get super sick just before and have a really bad time or something. So I think if you don't have a enjoyable training block, well, then that's just a whole lot of time that you're losing out on.
For sure.
Or you're just not enjoying yourself during.
Exactly. Then you'd be like, why did I do that training I didn't like for months on end?
Right.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I think that I am drawn to, well, I am pretty influenced by what people are doing. And not in a way of feeling pressured or anything to do what other people want to do, but just from a perspective of I like doing races that friends are doing because I really love the whole experience of usually, you know, if we go somewhere, it's like we travel together, we rent a house, we get to spend a weekend together or maybe more. And so that whole experience, like wrapped around a race, to me is just so much fun. So when, you know, a group of people say that they're interested in doing a race, that does influence me. And I mean, typically it works out that, you know, obviously these people we're doing races with also pick races that I'm mostly interested in. So that is a factor for me, which I don't think I don't think that factors into your decision making.
No.
So that's where we differ. I do think competition, that does excite me as well. I think, you know, as much as I love the local, more closer to home races for the grassroots, the vibes, the seeing like friends and familiar faces out there, typically don't produce a strong level of competition. So I think that does draw me. Also just seeing different places. I really like that when I'm thinking about a race. So yeah, I think that's probably why too, we don't repeat races a lot of the time. What else? I mean, weather. I think you didn't talk about weather, but I think that does kind of impact your decision.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pick a cold race.
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't pick a cold race, and you, like something like Black Canyon would also draw you because you like running in the sun and the heat versus somebody else might say
For sure.
that's a negative.
Yeah. If it was flat and cold race, like you're not going to see me there.
Yeah, or whatever that thing that Mathieu Blanchard did, the Arctic.
Arctic. Okay. Or the spine race.
The spine,
race.
yes.
Yeah, which just happened.
Yes.
In the UK, it's like it's like I don't know. I don't even know how long it is. It's really long though.
Yes.
Like the winners took like 70, 100 hours or something like that.
And the first female was 55 years old.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Shout out to Steph Corker for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah.
But that's so cool. Isn't Jasmine Paris? Didn't she kind of cut her teeth at the spine?
Yeah, totally.
That's kind of where she was known from before she did Barkley.
Totally.
Yeah.
I just saw some pictures from that spine race, and they're just in full head to toe gear. It's like wet and cold. I'm just like, no, that was.
You have to be so tough.
Yeah.
You have to be so tough.
Yeah. Okay. Weather.
What else? Yeah, new places, traveling. Trying to think if there's anything else that really impacts my decision.
So what is BMO hitting with these? Traveling pretty far.
Great question. Well, I was just, as I was saying, you know, traveling to new places and traveling in general.
Yeah.
There is always, of course, the limitation of financial impact.
Yeah.
And what else we have going on in our lives, right? Because unfortunately, we do have jobs and we can't just travel all the time. You know, now we just bought a house and so have a mortgage payment, all these things that kind of so many life things for everybody that is impacting these decisions. So, as much as I do love to travel, I also appreciate when there is a sort of at least near home, like Vancouver or going over to Washington or Oregon, somewhere that you can kind of easily get to without breaking the bank or having to fly somewhere. So sometimes that is the appeal. And
Convenience.
I think with BMO specifically, I guess, yes, that was a big factor of convenience. I think that, I mean, frankly, your race schedule is sort of dictating a lot of our travel plans for next year. So I just took one for the team,
Thank you. Yeah,
and picked one closer to home. But also, I've never done BMO. So even when I say like traveling different places, I just mean also just new races. I like trying new races.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Have you ever repeated a race? Like, gone back? Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm racking my brain. I guess I don't think I have.
No, I don't think you have either. Yeah.
But almost every race I've done, I always say I would love to do that again.
Black Canyon, UTMB, like.
Even the very first race I did, Finless and Arm 50K, I have been saying since then I want to do it again. And I think that one of these years will be that year.
Yeah, eventually it will happen again. But so no repeat races. Yeah.
So I definitely do love trying new races. There's just so many out there.
Yeah.
So I think, why not? And usually we like to kind of tie it into a trip, right? If we can.
If we're going somewhere far.
If we're going somewhere far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, no, I don't know. There's just so many on my list. So I'm kind of like, well, I've done that one. I've seen it, been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that like heavily influences my decision. I definitely think, the vibes, the sort of good old like grassroots trail vibes is a huge draw, the communities, that kind of thing. But I don't really think that I've been to one where I felt that was missing or that it felt off.
Well, like UTMB is not a grassroots event.
No, but I think that it provided vibes in a different way.
Okay. Big corporate vibes.
I don't know. The whole, obviously it is that, but I think that there's a crazy energy going on in Chamonix.
For sure. But it's definitely not a grassroots vibe.
No, for sure. No. I'm not claiming it is. Yeah. But I guess so. My answer to that would be vibes.
Okay, vibes influences Mercedes' decision,
which can mean a whole bunch of different things.
Yes. Does prize money ever influence your decision?
Not at all. Not at all. First of all, the prize money is usually very weak. And second of all, if there is prize money, usually it means it's actually a more competitive race in the trail scene. And usually that means that I'm not going to be winning any prize money. So, no, it would never impact my decision. Yeah. And even for you, who's probably more likely to win prize money than me, who's, often finishes higher up, closer to or on the podium, it's never a significant enough money for you to sort of dictate your schedule based on that.
I mean, I have chosen races that have prize money. Like Run Rabbit Run.
But that was the only reason? That was the biggest reason?
No, that wasn't the only reason. It was just part of the reason.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay. Well, also, it's like a Hard Rock qualifier. Oh, I guess that's like another reason. Like, like races that are qualifiers for other races. True. But yeah, Run Rabbit Run, I was like, it's a Hard Rock qualifier, and there's the potential for pretty good prize money. I think it's one of the better prize money ones out there. So, yeah, and I mean, I am tempted to go to Gorge 30K again this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were saying that.
Yeah, kind of like going back to the why. It's like the competition looks pretty good this year for the 30K. Like Caleb Wilson, there's another ACG athlete as well there. There's prize money there.
Caleb Wilson's doing the 30K.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it would be a fun I've been thinking about it. I'm like, is there any benefit for me to going, like, in terms of the greater season? Not really. Like, it would just be because it would be fun to do. Like, you know,
Which is so funny because last year you basically accidentally ended up in there, or not accidentally, but unintentionally.
Yeah.
It wasn't planned for you to do the 30K, and now you want to go back from the 30K.
Yeah. Well, it's only like 3 weeks after Big Alta. That's why I'm like,
Oh,
the 30K would be
I
the only,
see.
like, probably more feasible one to do.
I would say I don't have a super strong desire to do the 100K there again.
Yeah.
No.
What is that?
I liked it. I just don't think it was my favorite
Yeah.
race ever. But I don't know. That could also be impacted by just not having the best day. But I don't know.
Yeah. So if you were to choose your next 100K, what would it be?
If I could choose any,
Yeah.
no constraints, doesn't have to fit into my race season.
No. Yeah. Say 2027.
Oh, 2027.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really want to do Cape Town.
Okay. UTCT. Okay. Cape Town 100K.
I really want to do that race.
Would you want to do the 100K or the 100 mile?
I think the 100K.
Yeah. 100K, I think is like the kind of the
Yeah.
marquee event there. It's like it's definitely more competitive than the 100 mile too. And the 100K is just like a good distance where it's like,
Yeah, you get to be out there for a while, but not so much that you kind of hate your life near the end.
yeah,
Or you,
Yeah.
you might, but
yeah,
no, I just, I've always wanted to do that race, and
Okay.
I really want to go back to Cape Town. So that is kind of high on my list. But I also, like I said, do want to do Black Canyon.
Yeah.
I also have always wanted to do Javelina, which is also in Arizona, but at the end of the year instead of the start of the year. But I kind of feel like I want to do the 100-mile at Javelina.
okay, loops in yeah, Javelina, not quite interested personally.
I know you're not, but I
Yeah.
want to run it.
Yeah, no, I'd love crewing Javelina. Looks like a lot of fun. It's
Yeah.
like a party in the desert
Yeah.
there. Crewing's really easy because it's like it's like 5 loops and the crew stays in one spot, so the runner just comes around to you every single time. So, Greg and I will 1000% be there.
Yes, I know Greg would be there for sure. Yeah, those are the ones that come to mind. I'm sure there's a million others that I can think of. But I would really still like to find a trail 50-mile, 100K distance to do in 2026.
Okay, keep our ears open. Any last minute registrations that are open?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Shoot us a message if you're listening and you have a good idea.
Yeah, if you're a race director.
Let me know
You
if
can
you're
get
a
race.
race director. Okay.
If you have an in with a race director, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the one kind of interesting thing that we didn't talk about that you were going to mention was how you heard about the trail running potentially coming into the Olympics.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that World Athletics is putting a proposal together this year for trail running to come into the 2032 Olympics in Brisbane. There's like no more information on what does that look like what distance, but like
It's so interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
so curious what that would be.
but it like seems like the wheels are firmly in motion for trail running to be in the Olympics, which is like, people have been like, oh, is it good? Is it bad? I mean, it's whatever.
What's your take?
My take is, like, I think it's good, but like, I don't think it's going to be anything like what trail running actually is.
Right.
Like it's going to be like loops, kind of like what they did for mountain biking. Like it's going to be a bunch of loops, a looped course that the runners do often, and it's going to be kind of one of those things where it's like the young people. It's like going to be like a younger trail runner kind of thing. Like you're going to be in your 20s or 30s. Like there's not going to be as many older trail runners because it's going to be probably a shorter duration event that's like maybe 2 hours long. So
Yeah, it'll be like, I don't know, start to have college level athletes sort
Yeah.
of maybe getting more specific and gearing themselves towards this kind of racing.
yeah, like I do think it'll be like a net positive for the sport in the sense of there'll be more visibility. There'll be younger talent trying to get there because they can get to the Olympics, and then that might in turn feed upward to like, later, they go from the Olympic trail running format to, longer trail running to ultra running, which, that's kind of, we're kind of in the realm of ultra trail running, not like, the sub distance of like shorter trail races where that would firmly be in the shorter. So I think it would feed that bottom part. But it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's cool because it's like, it makes sense. It's like just like running, but like a kind of a different skill set of running because like a lot of really good road runners don't do well in the trails. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting debate for sure. I think maybe I was reading something that maybe it was Killian talking about it, but just sort of saying that just because a sport goes to the Olympics doesn't necessarily mean that it takes off and has way more people doing it and way more visibility. I think there's examples of sports in the Olympics that did not have that experience. But yeah, I don't know. It'll just be, I've heard people compare it to rock climbing, I guess.
Yeah.
And how, the version of climbing that is in the Olympics is basically, I think, 3 modalities pushed together, or there's three things you compete in.
Yeah.
And it's, so many athletes that would be climbers that aren't going to the Olympics just choose sort of one of those avenues. And so for a lot of people, it's not necessarily applicable. So it's kind of like that. Like like you said, it wouldn't be what we view trail running as.
Yeah, totally.
Possibly.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it would be, like a marathon is like pretty, in a way, standardized and distant.
Yeah.
Obviously the distance, but like it's probably not going to be too hilly. Where it's like a trail run, like it could lead to very different results every 4 years in the sense of like, is it a hilly trail? Is it a flat trail? How technical is it? Right, which might lead to different people being,
doing better different years.
Exactly. So.
There could be still some of that in other things, like if the marathon happens to be a really hot year, wherever it is that year, the road marathon, well, that's going to change things from the next 4 years, for maybe sure. If it goes to a cooler place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, and like a really good athlete would be able would adapt their training to prepare themselves well for the specificity of what the event looks like.
Yeah. I don't know. Hard to say. Would it be? I'm trying to think of what the potential negatives could be.
Yeah.
I can't think of any. But I think, this is a divisive topic in the trail scene. So
I think it kind of tying this back to drug testing and I think it would just, if it would make drug testing more prevalent in trail running, I think that would help make the sport better.
Yes.
Right? Because they would have to do that. If trail running's in the Olympics, they would have to do out of competition drug testing, which they don't currently do on athletes. And then so they kind of make the sport cleaner in a way, or yeah.
But I don't know.
Bad.
More people doing a sport probably means there's going to be more doping going on, and at such a high level. And anyways, more money, more commercialization. I guess that would be what people against it would be, taking away from the sort of grassroots ethos that it has.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I guess we'll stay tuned. I mean, that's 6 years away. So
yeah, a while.
Yeah, but coming up next month will be Cortina, Italy, Olympics. Winter Olympics, in
Crazy.
2 weeks' time. So, I mean, and also I don't know when our next podcast will be, but if it's not till we come back, we fly back on the day of Black Canyon and Tarawera.
Oh yes.
Which are the next 2 golden ticket trail races.
Exciting.
Yeah, which is poor planning. I think that they have 2 golden ticket races on the same day, one in Arizona and then one in New Zealand. Yeah. Yeah. So. Both. I mean, Black Canyon's more competitive than Tarawera.
Yes, for sure. And speaking of Beth McKenzie, she's doing Tarawera. Yeah. And so she won't be in contention for one of those golden tickets, but that's where she's won one of them before. She's placed. I think she's placed second and third at that race. Yeah. So she's obviously quite good there, so I feel like she'll have a high chance of success this year. Yeah. And Ruth Croft won it at least last year, but probably more than that. Well, I'm sure that you and Greg will be putting in a fantasy lineup.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. First one just happened. Hong Kong 100K was this past weekend. Listeners will be happy to know I came 10th overall in fantasy and beat Greg.
Yeah. So here we go again.
Yeah, another season.
Another season.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel like we should wrap this up. I have to get going somewhere. So
Okay, sounds good.
wrap it up. Well, thanks everybody for listening. This will be our third episode for January. So we're kind of,
Wow.
we're doing good so far.
Yeah, share it with other people. Watch on YouTube. It's actually a nice sunny day. Like the other episodes we've been recording were in the evenings. It's been dark. So if you're interested in seeing what we look like in the light, check it on YouTube. I got some new glasses last week.
This will motivate me to actually put this episode on YouTube.
Mercedes has told me she's been putting them up on YouTube.
No, you just have you are not involved in any aspect of the production of this, so you have no idea. The fact that you're even saying that is evidence-based. But anyways, no, I need to get better at putting them up there. But anyways, okay.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks everybody.
Have a great day.
See you next time.